to see if my light and everything is good. I want to start right on time. One, because to me it's late, 9 o'clock is late, but you guys are typically up. My fans here on Facebook are typically up. So I just wanted to make sure that I'm on, you know, at a time that's good for you guys. So just trying to get this camera right. As you see, I have some words written behind me. Can't see that over there, but that's okay. Hey, Miss C. That's okay. Just on a tad bit early on my end, just so I can start on time. We'll give a few more people a chance to log on. I will not be on long, guys. I realized last year that my content is good, but it's a bit long for my target audience. So I do want to work on that this year. So we're going to do these videos. It's going to be about 15 minutes tops. No, 20 minutes top. If I can get it down to 15, that's going to be great. That is my plan, to get it down to 15 minutes from beginning to end. So it is 9 o'clock on the dot. Just give a few more minutes to see if a few more people are going to log on. And hopefully they will. Of course, if not, this is Facebook, so you can always go back and press play. You can always go back and watch it in pieces if you need to. I've watched videos in pieces. I think I try to sit down and watch it all at one time, but you can go back. You can watch these videos whenever you get a chance. Watch as much as you need, and you know, get what you need from these videos and write on right. So that's the whole point of these videos. They are just to help you become a better writer wherever you are. They are designed to help you get to your next, whatever your next is. And again, I don't want to be on long tonight. None of these nights on Thursdays, I do not want to be on extremely long. Again, maybe 20 minutes tops, just so I can do some quick mini lessons and we all can get in the bed or go on and do whatever it is, you know, that we do around this time. So tonight's video, I said I was going to do punctuation, but I don't want to start with punctuation because there's so much more to writing than just how to punctuate sentences. And just in thinking and meditating on tonight and just thinking about whether or not punctuation was a good place to start, I decided to start with nouns or parts of speech, because you can't write effective sentences if you don't understand and know how the words you have selected and the words you are using in your sentences, how they fit together, and then what part they are actually playing in the sentences that you are composing. So instead of starting with punctuation, which to me is kind of like the end of a sentence, we know you have your end marks, your periods, your question marks. You do have some punctuation marks that go within your sentences, especially once you get into your compound complex sentences. So that's kind of like the end. So before you can write an effective sentence, you do have to understand and know the parts of speech, and then how these words you are selecting in your sentences, how do they fit together, and then what words in terms of function are you using in your particular sentences. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Adrienne Harris. I am the owner, founder of Right On Consulting Agency, LLC, and this is our first live video for 2018. I do have a lot of great stuff planned for you guys on this year. But of course, I would love to hear from you all, just to let me know if there anything specific that you guys need in the as it relates to writing. I don't mind researching. I actually love to research. If you guys have a need, I do want to address those writing needs, you know, before we get into the things that I think, you know, people are needing, or, you know, things that are just on my mind and my heart to do. So please, if you have anything you'd like for me to hit on or to teach on or to talk about, just let me know in the comment section. Please don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share this video. You guys did an awesome job liking the post, sharing the post, loving the post, and I do. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. It does encourage me, and it also, you know, helps me see, you know, whether or not the ads that I am creating and the information that I am putting out, whether or not it's effective. So thank you so much for sharing, liking, loving the post that you have seen so far. We are going to do some incentives this year. The first quarter, what we're going to do, if you like, if you share, if you love any type of interaction with the actual post that I'm posting, your name is going to be put into a drawing for a $25 gift card. So anytime you like, even if you like several of the posts within a week, because I am able to see who's liking, who's sharing, who's loving the posts that are going out. So anytime that you like, love, share any of the content from Right On Consulting Agency, your name is going to go into a pile, and not a pile, into a, I won't even say a box. I do have a jar I want to use. Your name will go into a jar. I will pull names at the end of the quarter, a name at the end of the quarter, and I will get you a $25 gift certificate. So I'm super excited about that, just to honestly get some feedback from you guys. And then, of course, it helps me and it helps you in the long run. So, of course, the more you like, the more you love, the more you share, the more times your name is actually going to be entered into the giveaway incentive jar for the first quarter, which is January through March 2018. So tonight's video, I had actually said that I was going to do punctuation, but I think we need to go back just a little bit and talk about words and parts of speech before we actually get into punctuation, because punctuation has to deal with whole sentences, and we know that sentences are comprised of words. And so if you don't, again, know how words function in the sentences that you are creating, then you're not going to write sentences that are as concise, that are as concrete, and that are as meaningful as you would like them to be, if you don't quite understand how they are functioning and what purpose they are trying to serve you and what purpose they should be serving in your sentences. So we're going to start with words. We're going to actually start out tonight with talking about nouns, and we all typically have the definition of what a noun is in our minds to be a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. And so with that being said, that definition is correct. Nouns are people, nouns are places, nouns are things, and nouns can be ideas. But I want to give you another definition that's going to help you identify what nouns are. Because when we write sentences, if we can't identify the parts of speeches, if we can't identify the parts of speech that the words we are selecting, what part of speech they are, one, and then how they're functioning in our sentences, because words change function, they change function depending on what you write. So for example, if the word smile, that can be a noun or a verb. He smiled at me. He smiled at me. That word smile in that particular sentence is a verb. If I say the smile is bright, then smile becomes a noun. So when we know these things and how they are functioning, and some keywords and clues, which I'm going to give you guys tonight and next week, then we'll be able to write better sentences. And if you are a student or you know a student, then they'll be able to identify parts of speech on the standardized test. There are some questions sometimes on standardized tests that ask, what part of speech is this? And or who is performing the action? What is this? Who is this sentence talking about? It'll help with decoding. It'll help you understand what a paragraph is asking you to do if you understand the parts of speech. So that's why we're starting at the basics, back at the beginning, even though I know we've all been taught what a noun is, what verbs are, what adjectives are, what adverbs are. I do believe this is going to help us all, because it really, really, truly, truly helped me just today as I was studying and preparing for the video. So words are the building blocks to great sentences, and we know that great sentences are built upon understanding how individual words function alone, and then in conjunction with the rest of the sentences that we have, or the rest of the words that we have written in our sentences. So the one thing I want you to get out of this video is a new definition for the word noun. And if you see, it is written on the board behind me. A definition that you can take away with you, in addition to a noun being a person, place, thing, or an idea, is that a noun is a word that can be made plural and I put my slash in the wrong spot. Guys, I wrote this backwards just so you guys could see it and I could be in the frame and not have to move the camera and all of that good stuff. So if some stuff looks out of place, that's because it is. Because I was writing backwards trying to get this thing right for you guys. So I think I did a good job. I was so proud of myself by the time I got finished. So that slash is in the wrong spot. My apologies for that. But nevertheless, a noun can be defined also, in addition to the definition we've all learned over time, it can be defined as a word that can be made plural and or a possessive. If you can't put an S on it, guys, if you can't add an apostrophe S or an S apostrophe, it's 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be a noun. That should help us in identifying nouns, and that should also help us do a better job of writing complete sentences, because we know that sentences are comprised of at least the minimum of subject and a verb. So again, when we write nouns and when we're trying to write sentences, we have to have a word in there that can be made plural and or possessive. And so with that being said, one thing with this particular definition, what it does is it breaks or it gets us into what linguists call categories or groups for the 8 parts of speech. And the word or words like nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and I can't think of another one's verbs. Nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs are all words that change form. So we know nouns, and you can add a plural, you can add an S to it. Sometimes you have to add an ES to them in order for them to be made plural. Or you can show possession. You can add an apostrophe S, or if it already has an S on the end, then you just add an apostrophe. We know verbs change form. If we're talking about something that happened in the past, typically we add an ED, or if it's an irregular verb, then sometimes, like with the word write, we have to write wrote instead. We don't say write it, ED. We actually change the form of the word to make it past tense. So that's what we're talking about when we say form or class. And typically that change is going to take place at the end or on the end of a sentence. And we've all probably heard of the concept or the word suffix, which are your endings versus your prefixes, which come at the beginning of a sentence. So the form class, again, guys, is just when your words change form, and the parts of speech that fall into that category include your nouns, your verbs, your adjectives, and your adverbs. All of those parts of speech are going to change form or can change form within a sentence, which is why they belong to the form class. And then your other parts of speech, they fall into what you call the structure class, and we will get into that as time progresses. So a noun is a part of the form class, again, which simply means that the word fits into this category simply because it is able to change form, or nouns change form in our sentences based off of what we are discussing in our sentences. So what's next? So some examples. I didn't put any examples on here. As you can see, I ran out of space, and guys, it really is hard writing backwards. But let's see if we have some up here. Just simply the word noun. If we add an S to the word noun, we've successfully changed the form of it to include plural, more than one noun. And so then we have, we can say, hey, the word noun is a person, place, thing, or idea in and of itself, and it belongs to the form class just because we can change the ending of that particular word and we have a new word, or we are being able to, even if we wanted to show possession, if we add an apostrophe S, that fits for that particular word. When you're talking about verbs, just to throw this in here, if we say Adrian smiled, if we put an ED on the end of smiled, with smile being the original verb, then we've changed the ending, and it indicates to us that it happened in the past. Again, that's just an example of your form class, again, which means your words change form, and that form is going to take place typically at the end of a sentence. So nouns have 2 kinds of endings, and that's what this last blurb is here. which are called inflections. And all inflections are, guys, you have two forms when you're talking about nouns. You can add an S to make it plural or an ES. Sometimes words have to be, an ES have to be added. Or you can add an apostrophe, which shows possession, which goes back to our original definition, which is an apostrophe S or an S apostrophe. If you are dealing with words that are plural, then you're going to do the S apostrophe. Some of you guys may wonder, well, when do I add an apostrophe after the S? And you add an apostrophe after an S when the word is plural. So an example of that would be dogs. The dogs went to the park. Oh, no. The dogs went to the park is just a regular sentence. We got to show some possession. So the dogs' collars were too tight. So those collars belong to the dogs, S with an S on the end. And so then we need that apostrophe to appear after that S in order for it to be right, mechanically speaking. Now, I'm not going to get into, that's a punctuation marks. I don't want to get too much into that because there are some instances where you'll have an S on the end and you don't necessarily need the apostrophe after the S. You actually need to write apostrophe S and then have like a double S on the end. So there are some rules and some exceptions to that rule based off of the way based off of the word itself. If the word, just to throw it out there since I mentioned it, if the word is not plural, then you have to do apostrophe S even if there's an S on the end. If the word is plural, then we stick with the S apostrophe. So that's the quick way to figure out whether or not the word is, or where you need to place the apostrophe. So again, just to give you guys a new way of looking at nouns, they are words that can be made plural and or possessive. We all know, we probably know at this age, at this stage in the game with our writing abilities, that a sentence is not a sentence, or it's not a complete sentence, which we'll get into, which is also called an independent clause, if it does not have a noun and a verb. If you're missing a noun and a verb, then you don't have a sentence. And then you get into punctuation marks on how to correctly punctuate clauses, dependent clauses, and independent clauses once you know the difference. So starting off with words is very, very, very important, because if you don't have a noun in a sentence, guys, you don't have a sentence. And if you don't have a sentence and you put a period on the end of it, now you have a fragment. And if you have a fragment in one spot, 9 times out of 10, you have a fragment in another spot. And what that does is create choppiness in your work, in your written work. And it also just kind of makes you look, I don't want to say, it just, you look like you are illiterate in the sense of your writing capabilities. And of course, we don't want that. We want everybody to be literate. And remember, guys, last year we talked about literacy being able to read and write. So we want our literary and our literacy competency to come up to par in the area of writing, because it still matters. I know we live in an age of technologically being savvy, and we send a lot. We write more, believe it or not, guys, now than we did, I'd say, back in the day. Why? Because we are texting now. We are emailing on a much regular basis. People are instantly and more quickly replying back to us. If you think about back in the day when you're talking about sending letters, you sat down, you wrote your letter, and then you had to wait for the letter to get there, and then wait for them to reply back, and then you had your correspondence that way. And so we're writing more simply because we're getting messages more and much faster than they did, back in the day. And I won't put a age or a year on back in the day. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So we are writing more. We are receiving more written work. Believe it or not, we are sending much more written work. So being able to write and to do so in a way that is appropriate, first of all, and then in a way that is based off of the standard of what I'd say great or good writing is still applicable. It's still much needed. And guys, it will put you ahead of the game. HR directors, people who hire are still looking at individuals' ability to write and making their decisions on whether or not to hire people. So we still need to be able to know how to write, even though we live in a very technologically sound and very fast-paced world, especially when you're talking about technology. We still need to be able to be competent in the area of writing. So this is why this video is important, or these videos are important, just in case you were wondering, because we're writing more, we're writing all the time, we're writing quickly. We can probably all attest to the fact of getting a text message, no punctuation marks, or we know some of the words, like what are you trying to say, because words are misspelled, because of autocorrect puts wrong words in places where, you know, it says this when we actually meant that. Big mess. It can turn into a big mess. It can cause arguments. It can just cause a big mess if we don't put stuff in the right spot, if we don't use our punctuation marks correctly, if we don't use the correct words. So now that we know that nouns can also be defined as words that can be made plural and or possessive, that's going to get us that much closer to being able to understand how to write complete sentences. And then once we get through how to write complete sentences, I'll be able to teach you guys how to punctuate those sentences correctly based off whether or not these sentences are independent clauses or dependent clauses. And guys, I promise you it's going to help your writing become that much better if you hang in there with me. Just hang in there with me. I know some of this writing may not be the, like, ooh, I want to learn how to write. But I promise you, if I can assure you, if you hang in there with me, then your writing will be that much better by the time this year is over. And you may want to, I challenge you guys to go somewhere, just write a quick paragraph. You can even write about what did you get out of this video. And then if you hang it with me, we'll review those, and we can review those at the end of just this quarter alone in March, at the end of March, to see how your writing has improved just in 3 months. So guys, that's all I have for you tonight. Again, I don't want to be on long. When I get on Thursdays, tops, I want to get on 20 minutes and share with you guys, you know, what I'm learning, what I'm gaining. Again, if you have anything you would like addressed here on Right On Consulting Agency's page via Facebook, or if you need some individual help, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am available to, you know, address any issues that you guys may have. If this is too elementary for you all and you want me to move on, please say so. I don't mind moving on. If you guys like, hey, I don't need that, can you please address A, B, C, D, E, or punctuation marks, whatever you guys need, I am willing and available to give you guys that information. So don't hesitate to contact me. Please don't forget to like, share the videos, comment on the videos. Every time you do so, your name will go into our incentive jar, where you can have a chance of winning $25, a $25 gift card. And I will see you guys next week. We will be here on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Guys, if the time doesn't work for you, if you really want to see these videos and you're struggling to stay up to 9 o'clock, let me know. I don't mind changing the times. I really am truly here for you guys. I get on for you guys. I'm trying to pick the best times according to my Facebook analytics from last year. My target audience is on Facebook from the hours of 5 to about 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. I don't want to mess with my Fridays. Monday through Thursdays are much better for me after 5 o'clock. So if something else works for you all, please, 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 please let me know. And we can work around what you guys have going on. I do not mind doing that at all, because again, I am here for you all. So please join us again next week. We will be talking about noun phrases on next week, and we will be here on next Thursday at 9 p.m. unless you guys give me some feedback that you need something else. It'll be the same place, same time as we say it right in 2018. One word, one sentence, one paragraph at a time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please like, share, love this video, whatever you want to do. And as you are doing so, I will be adding your name to our incentive jar for this year so that you guys can win or be in the running to win a $25 gift card. So I'm super, super excited about this year. Please join us again on next week and continue to like, share, and tell somebody who tell somebody who tell somebody else about Right On Consulting Agency. Good night, guys. I hope you have a great evening. See you next week.